In a small, quiet town lived a man named Elias. To everyone, he was just an ordinary guy, working a 9-to-5 job, living a predictable life. But deep down, Elias felt a quiet hum of dissatisfaction, a feeling that there was something more to his life than the monotonous routine he followed every single day. He would look at his reflection and see not the man he was, but a faint outline of the man he could be. This feeling, this whisper of potential, was both a source of hope and a heavy burden. Elias worked at the local library, a place filled with stories of adventure, discovery, and transformation. He loved the smell of old books, the feel of their worn pages. He'd spent his lunch breaks lost in tales of heroes who conquered dragons, explorers who discovered new worlds, and artists who painted masterpieces that moved souls. These stories were his escape, but they also amplified the feeling that his own story was unwritten, his own adventure yet to begin. He was a spectator in a world of protagonists. One rainy afternoon, as Elias was shelving books in the history section, a small, leather-bound journal slipped from between two large encyclopedias. It was old, the cover faded and cracked. Curiosity piqued. He opened it. The first page read, "The greatest journey is the one within." The words seemed to jump off the page and speak directly to him. The journal belonged to a former town librarian from a century ago, a man who, like Elias, had felt the pull of a greater purpose. The journal wasn't filled with grand tales of fame or fortune. Instead, it was a chronicle of small, deliberate actions. Learning a new language, one word at a time. Mastering a difficult piece on the piano, note by note, tending to a small garden, seed by seed. Each entry was a testament to the power of consistent effort, of showing up for yourself day after day, even when no one else was watching. The old librarian wrote about the joy he found not in the final achievement, but in the process of becoming. This was a revelation for Elias. He had always imagined self-discovery as a single, dramatic event, a lightning bolt of inspiration, a sudden inheritance, a chance encounter that would change everything. He was waiting for his story to be handed to him. But the journal taught him that potential isn't found, it's built. It's forged in the quiet moments of dedication, in the disciplined pursuit of small improvements. It's not about a sudden transformation, but a slow, steady evolution. Inspired, Elias decided to start his own journey. He didn't quit his job or pack his bags to travel the world. His first step was much smaller, almost laughably so. He decided to learn how to draw. He had always admired the illustrations in children's books, the way simple lines could convey so much emotion. So, he bought a sketchbook and a set of pencils. His first attempts were clumsy. His circles were wobbly, his straight lines were crooked. The cat he tried to draw looked more like a potato with ears. Frustration crept in. The gap between the image in his mind and the mess on the page was immense. He almost gave up, telling himself he just didn't have the talent, but then he remembered the old journal. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried, so he kept going. He watched tutorials, he read books, he filled page after page with lopsided shapes and strange-looking animals. He wasn't drawing for an audience, he was drawing for himself. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. His lines grew steadier, his shapes more confident. One evening, he sketched a portrait of the elderly woman who always sat by the library window. He captured the gentle curve of her smile, the web of wrinkles that told a lifetime of stories. When he showed it to her, her eyes lit up. It was the first time his art had connected with someone else, and the feeling was more fulfilling than he could have ever imagined. This small success fueled his confidence. He started exploring other interests he had long suppressed. He joined a local hiking club, pushing his body to climb mountains he had only ever admired from his library window. Standing on a peak, breathless and exhilarated, looking down at the town where he had felt so small, he realized his world was expanding. He started learning guitar, his clumsy fingers fumbling with the strings, filling his small apartment with dissonant chords that gradually, over weeks and months, transformed into music. Elias was no longer just the quiet librarian. He was an artist, a hiker, a musician. He was still Elias, but he was a more vibrant, more complete version of himself. His colleagues at the library noticed the change. He walked with a new sense of purpose, a quiet confidence radiating from him. He started a weekly story time for kids, not just reading the books but acting them out, bringing the characters to life with a passion that was infectious. The kids were captivated, and so were their parents. One day, the mayor came to the library. He had heard about Elias, about the positive energy he was bringing to the community. He asked Elias if he would be interested in organizing the town's annual summer festival. In the past, Elias would have shrunk from such a responsibility, convinced he wasn't qualified. But the man who had taught himself to draw, to hike, to play music, knew that potential was not about pre-existing qualifications. It was about the willingness to learn, to try, and to grow. Elias accepted. He threw himself into the project with the same dedication he had applied to his sketchbook. He formed a committee, listened to ideas, and discovered a knack for leadership he never knew he had. He didn't just organize a festival, he created an experience. He invited local artists to display their work, musicians to perform on a stage he helped build, and storytellers to share tales under a large tent. The festival was a huge success. The town square, usually quiet, was buzzing with life, laughter, and music. Elias walked through the crowd, seeing the joy on people's faces, and felt a profound sense of connection. He wasn't a hero who had slayed a dragon. He was just a man who had decided to write his own story, one small, deliberate action at a time. He had discovered that his potential wasn't a hidden treasure to be found, but a garden to be cultivated. Elias's story is a reminder that the most extraordinary journeys often begin with the simplest steps. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or for permission to start. It's about choosing to engage with life, to be curious, to be a beginner, and to embrace the process of becoming. It's about understanding that every small effort, every clumsy attempt, every moment of dedication is a brushstroke on the canvas of who you are. The potential that Elias unlocked was always there, dormant, waiting for him to pay attention. And it's within each of us, too. It's in that hobby you've always wanted to try, that skill you've dreamed of learning, that conversation you've been meaning to have. It's not out there somewhere, it's right here, waiting for you to pick up the pen and start writing your own story. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires you to explore your own potential. We'll see you in the next video.